Hey everybody, it's Goblinox, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another Premier Draft of Tarkir Dragonstorm, but this time with an Alchemy card added to every pack, and that is in addition to everything you would normally get in the Tarkir Dragonstorm pack, which means these drafts are super loaded, super bomby. As you can see, we have 3 rares in this pack, because we have our 2 normal rares and the additional Alchemy rare, and that's what we're going to take here. Take this opportunity these next couple days to play with some of these alchemy cards before we go back to the traditional Tarkir Dragonstorm format. Let's grab a Cunning Azure Scale here. This is a 6 mana 5/5 flash flyer that when it enters you get to seek 2 cards that are lands or non-lands. So 6 mana 5/5 flash flyer, when it enters the battlefield, you guaranteed draw 2 spells, not even just draw 2 cards in general. That's absolutely absurd, even if it didn't have an omen, and having that omen gives you the flexibility. Say you're mana screwed in the early game and you've only got 2 lands on turn 3, you can just use that omen and get your 3rd land. That would be pretty much the only opportunity I imagine I'm using Divining Dive, because if I'm at 4 or 5 mana, if I'm somewhat close to the 6, I'd like to just keep this in hand, but having that flexibility is still pretty awesome. Pick number 2, the Alchemy card here, is also pretty powerful, but I don't think it really fits into the same kind of decks. Runeblade Razor looks like a good aggressive card, a 1 mana 2/1 that enters tapped and then comes back for free 1 time. Pretty nice, but there are other powerful cards in the main set here, like the Sibsig Appraiser for very solid card draw in the same color as our rare. That's going to be my pick here, but I don't think it'd be crazy to take the very good Static Snare removal spell either. Pick number 3 now. Looks like we are going to have to finally dabble into another color, because there's no mono blue card. I mean, Wingspan Stride, but that doesn't really count. It's not exactly playable. Take a Mammoth Bellow towards Teamer here, or a Lie in Wait towards Sultai. These are both pretty equally powerful. They're both 2-for-1s in the late game in their own way. The Mammoth Bellow, you get 2 5/5s off of the 1 spell. The Lie in Wait, you pick up your best creature in your grave. So you draw a card plus removal spell one of your opponent's creatures at the same time. I prefer Mammoth Bellow a little bit, because I find Lie in Wait, you do have to set it up a little. You need some kind of good creature in your grave. Mammoth Bellow, you don't really have to build around it at all or set it up at all. Just as long as you have the right colors to cast it, it fuels its own Harmonize with that Mammoth token. So I like the Bellow here. I don't think Encroaching Dragonstorm would be crazy either. Card's pretty solid in the 4 or 5 color stuff that is so prevalent in this format. Pick number 4, we do have an Alchemy card again now, the Ireni's Council. Very neat card, but only good if you're running a ton of dragons in your deck. We currently just have the 1. So I think I'm going to pass up on that for some excellent fixing like Sagu Wildling, or the Kishla Skimmer can be a really good card draw engine. Every time that you're casting a Harmonize card, or exiling a Renew card from your grave, you're drawing an additional card, which is pretty sweet. I think either card we take here, we're going to be green-blue at the core right now. Frostcliff Siege is good, more aggressive decks with a lot of creatures. That doesn't tend to be where a blue-heavy deck ends up, and with our 3 cards so far all being in blue, and our 2 best cards definitely being the mono-colored blue spells, I'm trying to get into a deck where blue is the core color here. I think I'm going to go Saga Wildling here towards splashiness rather than taking Kishla Skimmer. Just don't know for sure how many graveyard abilities I'm going to end up getting in this draft. This is early enough to take the Skimmer and then just start taking all the graveyard abilities really highly, but that does force us into a pretty specific way of drafting here. Pick number 5, Temur Tawny back, is a solid Temur card, some good card selection. Help you dig through your deck and find your scarier cards while still putting a really solid creature on the board for its mana cost. Another Kishla Skimmer. I might take this one. Also a Temur Monument, which is fantastic. I love all of the monuments. They're very good mana fixing that also gives you a creature in the late game. Huge fan of that. Still just the 1 Harmonized card so far, but again, it's early enough to take the Skimmer and draft around it. Temur Monument certainly more flexible. But I have taken a Saga Wildling for fixing, and I have 2 cards I can use to draw into a land. The Tawny back as well to an extent with the draw and discard. I'll try out the Skimmer on this pick. Pick number 7. Pretty medium pack. The best card is Mardu Devotee, and that's really only for the Mardu aggro decks. Outside of that, we probably take the Quarry Mountain Monastery. This is a card draw engine in the late game if we're flooding out. So just some nice anti-flood prevention. Inspirited Vanguard is also fine. I don't think it has a particularly great home in the 3 or 4 color decks though, because you get to have so many like powerful top-end dragons and multicolored spells and stuff. It's hard to fit in another 5-drop like this, but it is a good one if you don't find the other top end. Pick number 8, Rediscover the Way is a really nice card draw. Look at the top 3, put one into your hand twice, and then you get some double strike hits. Worth speculating on the splash here over pretty much just Narset's Rebuke, I think. Pick 9, Champion of Doosan works well with the Kirschla Skimmer. Technically, Auroral Procession does as well, but this is a very late game card. I like that this can play to the board early too. Pick number 10, Thornwood Falls, pretty easy, although Ice Ridge Serpent is certainly playable. Pick 11, Dismal Backwater or Encroaching Dragonstorm. We don't have any black spells yet, so I think I go for the Dragonstorm over the Backwater. If that were a white dual land, if it was like red-white or green-white or blue-white, I'd probably take it over the Dragonstorm, but since it's a color we haven't even touched yet, go for the Dragonstorm on that. Roamer's Routine also fine fixing, but Areni's Council would be fun if we can get it to pop off. We are at 2 dragons right now. Maybe we can try to get there. So a little speculative pick in the interest of potentially playing with some of the Alchemy hotness. It's Riverwalk Technique there. Heritage Reclamation, really just a sideboard option, and this is best of 1, so probably not playing it, but we'll see. Pack 2, pick 1. What do we got here? We got Molten Exhale. That's definitely fantastic. Or the Alchemy rares, pretty much. I mean, Static Snare, but Exhale's on color. So let's see. Oasis of Renewal. Green, black, blue. Whenever it enters and whenever a land card leaves your graveyard, seek a land card. That triggers once per turn. When it enters and whenever a non-land card leaves your graveyard, seek a non-land card. So, okay, so black, green, blue, draw a land and a non-land, and then if you make any cards leave your graveyard, you draw more cards. I mean, that's fun with it, like a Kishla Skimmer build around. I'll try it here, I guess. In the interest of playing with Alchemy stuff. The Molten Exhale is just definitely a great pick. You need a lot of good cheap removal so that you can survive against the Boros stuff, so that is probably a strictly worse pick here, because now we're still on 0 removal spells, but it seems like a really interesting build around, we'll see. And now this rare works with it. The Pampered Loam Frill. 1 mana, 1/1 Death Touch. It's got a renew ability to work with our Kishla Skimmer and our Oasis of Renewal. We get to exile it from our grave and conjure a duplicate of another creature card in our graveyard to the top of our library with +1/+1 and Death Touch. So whatever our best creature in grave is, we can put it on top of our deck. Sibsig Appraiser, also fantastic, but Loam Frill is fun, synergies, and an Alchemy card we won't get too long to play with. Pick number 3 now. Sagu Wildling looks fantastic. Caustic Exhale looks like a really big pick as well, seeing as we're super low on removal. And now with the Oasis of Renewal, we're hoping to splash black over red here to play with the new Alchemy stuff we don't get to play with as often. Yeah, I'll take the Exhale here. Get the black removal spell. Pick 4 Meringue River Regent. See, that is the quality of these Alchemy packs. It's absurd, because with play boosters, you can open 3 rares in a normal booster pack. With these Alchemy boosters, you now can get 3 rares plus an Alchemy rare. So I have to imagine that's what happened here, because Meringue River Regent is the strongest blue rare in the entire set, and getting it pick 4 is wild, so this must have been a super juiced pack. Pick 5 Dragonologist. Sometimes it's easy being blue. Pick number 6 now. There's a Jungle Hollow for solid fixing. There's a Focus the Mind for decent card draw. These are my favorite picks here by quite a lot. I go for the Jungle Hollow here. I've got a Dragonologist as a 2-for-1. Skimmer could draw cards. Appraiser definitely draws cards. Oasis of Renewal definitely draws cards. River Regent could draw cards. Azure Scale can draw cards. Yeah, I don't think I need a dedicated Focus the Mind piece of card draw. Pick number 7. Not a ton here. I could take Leopard just to have some more early game plays to be blocking with. Don't think Mistrise Village is good. I mean, it is fine if you end up in the mirror match against a heavy blue deck. Sure. It's also a rare draft for the collection. We could wield a Kishless Skimmer this pack, but there's also still a Synthetic Appraiser? Good grief. These are both incredible, incredible cards. We've got 1, 2 Renew cards, and 1 Harmonize card. We're still not that good at graveyard stuff. I'm going to take the Synthetic Appraiser. That's just definitely going to be great. Pick number 9. Not much. Take a Riverwalk Technique. We're low on interaction. Pick 10. Here's a green-black dual land off Sandstep Citadel. I don't think I really want multiple encroaching Dragonstorms. Pick 11. Here's a Rural Procession, which can trigger Oasis of Renewal and Kish the Skimmer. Yep. Pick 12. Unending Whisper can trigger Kish the Skimmer and Oasis of Renewal when we harmonize it. Pick 13, Rakshas's Bargain can be some good card draw that fills our grave with potential harmonizers and renew cards. How many dragons are in our deck right now? 3? Okay, we are not quite at Ireni's Council yet. You know what? This is so dumb, but Jadecast Sentinel can trigger Kishless Skimmer and Oasis of Renewal. I don't think I'm going to play it Focus the Mind in here. So even if I do end up cutting Jadecast Sentinel, which is likely, I think it's kind of a free speculation there. Okay, pack 3, pick 1. How much red am I going to splash here? Because Illuminating Lash is ridiculously good. 2 mana, 3 damage to any target, and then draw a card. You don't draw the card until you cast another non-creature spell, so it is a delayed card draw, but it's still a 2-for-1. 2 mana, 3 damage, draw a card. Incredible early removal. If I'm not going to splash that much red, I can just go for the Sagu Pummeler here, which does have a graveyard renew ability, or the big card draw from Blizzard, but I think I'm going to splash into red and black here. I'm going to take Illuminating Lash. Songcrafter Mage can recast Illuminating Lash, Caustic Exhale, a Rural Procession. Harmonizing a card out of our grave makes it leave the grave for Oasis of Renewal, and Kish the Skimmer is a pretty good top end, kind of rare. Although I'm low enough on removal, I could take Illuminating Lash here. Maybe even should. I'm on Caustic Exhale, Illuminating Lash, and then like 2 Riverwalk Techniques, which are like temporary removal, which is pretty bad. I'm actually going to go for a second Illuminating Lash here. Oh, Dispelling Exhale too, though. More cheap interaction. This one really easy to cast, as blue's our super main color. We definitely want cheap interaction here. I'm still going to go for the Lash. New Alchemy hot stuff to try out. Alright, luckily we're getting just a bunch of interaction here. Now I can get a fresh start. Off of just mono blue, we'll have early cheap removal. Yep, that's basically all that's in this pack is removal. Fresh start, Channel Dragonfire, Narset's Rebuke, Dragon Spray. We'll grab fresh start. 4. There's a Focused Mind if I really wanted one. Just kind of nothing else on color here. I could take Bloodfell Caves though. We're splashing black and splashing red, so Bloodfell Caves is valuable enough here. Pick 5, another renewability, the Sagu Pummeler. Actually, Teamer Monument, the way our mana base is quite valuable. I'll take the Teamer Monument. Pick 6, ooh, Roiling Dragonstorm. Draw 2, discard 1, keep recasting it every time you play a dragon, which isn't like insanely often in this deck, but if you do it just one time, you got a pretty great deal off Roiling Dragonstorm. I'm going to cut the Council, and I'm not going to splash white, so I'll cut Rediscover the Way. We have 6 lands, which means 25 non-lands right now, so we do get to cut a couple cards here. when we get to the deck building still. Pick number 7. Song of Seasons is interesting ramp. If we never recast the Encroaching Dragonstorm, this is basically a cheaper Encroaching Dragonstorm. We get a Forest, Mountain, and another one. I guess one goes onto the battlefield, the other goes into the hand. Yeah, we go 1 to hand, 1 to battlefield, 1 to graveyard. Probably better than Roamer's Routine still, but it does require our splash color to cast in the first place, needing the red mana. So I think I'm still just on Encroaching Dragonstorm there. Pick 8, another Mammoth Bellow. Works with Skimmer, Oasis of Renewal. And it's just good top end. Pick 9, Sagu Pummeler to work with our Renew nonsense. Dragonclaw Strike's fine, but I think we did a good job picking up a bunch of removal in this last pack. Caustic Exhale, Fresh Start, Double Lash, Double Technique. Pick 10. Well, I guess I didn't take into account Roamer's Routine does also get to harmonize and leave our graveyard, which could make it better than Song of Seasons at least. Still think it's probably not better than Encroaching Dragonstorm, but maybe we'll run both. Pick 11's got nothing. Could take a Snowmelt Stag, but I'm not gonna put that in the deck, so I'll rare draft an uncommon. Alright. Nothing else interesting for these last few picks, but we do have quite an interesting deck here. We could have been a triple Kishless Skimmer deck. Could have been like triple Kishless Skimmer and then just take all of the most filler Harmonize and Renew cards. So a little sad to look back on it that way, but I think we took like pretty safe picks over it, like Zipsig Appraisers that are still very strong cards for this deck regardless. I do feel Jadecast Sentinel is like hilarious enough with Skimmer and Oasis that I might try to make room for it here. It's a little hard to make the room though. You have so many great cards in this deck. And I'll still have Renew, 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 Harmonize, 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 Harmonize. Yeah, I still have a lot without the Jadecast Sentinel. Got a decent amount of duels in here. I have a Teamer Monument. I have a Sagu Wildling. Might not need both Dragonstorm and Routine. I have to cut 5 cards, which is so difficult because I think all of our creatures are great. They're either just really good creatures on rate, like Appraiser, Dragonologist, Regent, stuff like that, or they're great synergy pieces, all these Renew cards. And then, like, all our spells are great. Bunch of removal, synergy spells, and fixing. We've got to cut some amount of good stuff here. Maybe I have enough built-in card draw, again, between Appraisers, Dragonologist, Kishless Skimmer, Illuminating Lashes draw 1, Teamer Monument's like a 2-for-1, Oasis of Renewal draws 2, Coil and Catch on the River Regent can draw 3, and I don't need the dedicated Rakshas's Bargain, even though it is pretty great card draw. Because like I even have Unending Whisper, which is in here as card draw that can harmonize and trigger our other stuff. Okay, I think I'm definitely dropping the Sentinel. We've got enough Renew and Harmonize synergies to not need it. 4 more cuts. I'll go for the Roamer's Routine over the Dragonstorm here, as the Harmonized synergy can go pretty hard. And 3 more to go. Cut the Bargain. I don't need that extra card draw. I don't think I'm supposed to cut a Riverwalk Technique. But I think that's what I'm gonna do anyway. Yeah. Alright. Simplest way for me to cut it in my head. Now, we definitely need to double check our mana base. Green and blue need to be super prevalent, and then a little tiny bit of red and black. 16 blue cards and 10 green. But green gives us access to Saga Wildling and Roamer's Routine, so I think they're both equally important. We'd like to have like 8 sources of each in a perfect world. We currently have 7 sources of each. 7 blue and 7 green. What about black and red? 2 black cards, 4 red cards. The only black cards are Oasis of Renewal and Caustic Exhale. I do want the 1 swamp to be able to tutor off of the Saga Wildling and the Roamer's Routine, so I can't really cut a swamp. And then I want the one mountain to be able to tutor off of Saga Wildling and Roamer's Routine, so I can't really cut the mountain. So we have to go for a 7-7 split instead of an 8-8 split here. That's definitely kind of awkward. But I don't think there's a lot I can do about that, because I don't think I can afford to not run at least one of each basic. So this is the lowest amount of swamps and mountains and the highest amount of islands and forests that I could possibly get here. I guess I could cut Bloodfell Caves. And then I still would have 1, 2, 3 black sources, one of which is tutorable off of both Saga Wildling and Roamer's Routine. And I'd still have 2 red sources that are tutorable, with one of them tutorable off of Wildling and Roamer's Routine and Temur Monument. So I'd have 5 ways in the deck to get black and 5 ways in the deck to get red, even cutting a Bloodfell Caves. That feels a little low on the red. That's definitely fine for the black, but the red giving us these early Illuminating Lashes, it's a little more painful to not have that red as often. So then it's like, well, theoretically I could cut the Jungle Hollow for a forest, but then I'm left with the same number of green sources. Like, I don't care about lowering the black sources, but I do care about lowering the red. So I might as well run Bloodfell Caves over like a second mountain. Yeah, I'm gonna run the mana base like this. Little sketchy here. 7-7 split, but the Temur Monument hits green and blue, so that's kind of the 8th source of both. Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest issue with this deck, is certainly going to be mana issues, as always, with the 4 or 5 color builds. We did not get any Dragonstorm Globes, so not a ton of colorless ways to get whatever color we need. But the deck has a lot of power to it, has some really fun synergy going, so still pretty excited to see how it does. So without further ado, let's hop into the gameplay and see how it does. Alright, here we are for game 1 with a really excellent hand. Tons of 2-for-1 value, both Dragonologist and Appraiser drawing us a card when they hit the board. We've got the Saga Wildling for fixing to get the black source if we need it, and we can also just naturally draw a Bloodfell Caves. Keep this Wildling for some life gain higher up on the curve, plus a Hexproofing Dragon, as long as it's untapped. Playing against another green-blue deck. We are on the draw here, I believe. Oh no, we're on the play. Okay, I couldn't tell. I was a little out of it there. Dragonologist or Appraiser first? I want to lean in with the Dragonologist. I'd be more disappointed if Dragonologist gets countered than if Appraiser does. So I'm going to do that while they're tapped out. I am letting them hit me once with their 2-1 by doing it this way, though. Okay, 1 in the hand, the rest on the bottom, so none of these go to the grave. 6 spells here? That's kind of crazy. Might just Caustic Exhale here, but Mammoth Bellow is probably the best. I'm not that scared about the little Death Toucher. Yeah. And the Mammoth Bellow can, you know, kill the Devotee because they'll trade it into a Mammoth and leave behind an additional Mammoth. So more value if the game goes long enough to cast it twice, which it definitely will at this rate. So now they have their counter spells up, potentially. Offer the trade here. And get 1 damage in. Would still be a tiny bit disappointed if Appraiser gets countered. Disappointed enough to just skip the turn. But I guess I'm not under any pressure here, so I could just drop a Mistrise Village and then just play everything uncounterable for the rest of the game. And just play Appraiser on turn 5. So on from there. Sultai Monument for black. They do have 1 and a blue up if they have a counter here. But I've got Mistrise Village up now. I have to do it before casting the Appraiser. Okay, I don't love the sequencing on that land. But yeah, I'm just going to play Appraiser this turn, so sure. These are some good hits. I mean, either way I take it, I've got some value in my graveyard. Got the Appraiser to trade into the Devotee now. They do have a Sultai Monument to crack, get a couple zombies later. Saga Wildling gets to Roost Seek. Picks them up another forest, and they just hold all their mana up. Okay, we have a River Regent coming up. We'll save that as an 8-drop Mega Bomb. I have 6 mana, so I can play a 4-drop uncounterably. Cool. Might not be crazy to just pick up a land here off of the Roamer's Routine recast. They could counter it, but they'd be countering a flashback. No, I mean, I'm in a pretty decent aggressive spot here. I can just keep playing the board. If I went for the Roamer's Routine, then what that would give me is a Regent next turn, uncounterably, which would be pretty nasty. But I already just have a great uncounterable curve. Like, I just get to play Pummeler now, Bellow next turn. And if they tap out, I can just play the Regent anyway. And we've kind of incentivized them too, because they know if they hold up a counterspell, I'm just going to play uncounterable stuff. Okay. So now this Durgar Island Dragon's a 6/6. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I do need to hit one more land to be able to pay the ward for that if I want to bounce it with my River Regent later, which I kind of do. So let's Temur Monument to make sure that we do draw that land. They're kind of desperate at this point, I think. Like, the amount of thinking they did there, I think they were like, do I just counter unless they pay 2? Do I just soak up 2 mana at this point because this Mistrise Village? I don't know, I could just be really reading into things. Oh yeah, we already played land this turn, so this is for next turn. Yeah, pretty suspiciously long thinking there for me to want to cast the Mammoth Bellow. I guess I could have just put the Pummeler counters on Appraiser. They've been pretty fine. But yeah, I mean, they can counter a Roamer's Routine all day. That's fine. Yeah, Mistrise Village completely ruined our opponent's day. Feels pretty good. It's always rough when you like play the whole game playing around the counter because your opponent just always has the open mana, and you're like, unless their hand really sucks, the only thing that makes sense here is a counter spell from opponent, and then you never get to know if they had it or not. So it's nice to see that there. It's pretty sick. Draw the extra Appraiser cards here. Or redraw land with Monument. I'll draw more Appraiser cards. Territorial Strike, blow up the Regent, yep. That is really good. This is a very powerful Alchemy card. Maelstrom Pulse and give one of your dragons +2/+2 for the rest of the game. They have 2 copies of that. Sick Alchemy stuff. We've got our own with Illuminating Lash as the draw here, but it's not good against the perpetually beefed up Dargans now. Mammoth Bellow and then Pummeler onto it later. Kind of looks like what we're doing right now. Should be pretty happy if they counter this, because then I get to put River Regent on top of my deck. Sorcery speed, sadly. So I wouldn't be able to like do it in my upkeep and recast it next turn. Sig Appraiser. Can lash that. Rebuff the literal perfect counter for Mammoth Bellow. Because if I make another elephant token, they just bounce that one too. That's rough. Aurora Procession lets me just River Regent here while they're tapped out of blue. I don't really get to pick anything up for value. I mean, I can pick up my own Temur Monument. But there's nothing on their board to bounce. Still worth it, I think, while they're tapped out. Make them deal with this again. Loamfrill Trade is good because its graveyard ability is incredibly powerful. It's much more valuable in the graveyard than on the board. Alright. Pretty happy with that. You can tell we've done some ramping here, because our opponent has been sitting on 6 lands a few turns in a row. We're definitely ahead on mana. See if they have a third Territorial Strike. Their own Aurora Procession, so yes. Third Territorial Strike. Good grief. Well, you're gonna have to kill it again. Because Pampered Loamfrill's got hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, I still have 7 up. Let's just play all the best value stuff that I can while they're tapped out. Ka-ching. Boopity. Boop. Boop. 2 mana per play, so still Loamfrill after this, and Unending Whisper. Oh, I should have realized the Unending Whisper combo. I could have immediately recast it here. That would have been sick. That's really nice to know for the future. There's so much just crazy value in this deck. Just little synergies and stuff like that I never would have realized. Just off of the top of my head during deck building, but now I'm like, okay, well that's awesome. No, my one elephant. Seven 8 versus a 7-7. Yeah. They're finding their mana now. Alright, they have to run out of removal at some point. Watch that point be once I've like fully milled out. I'm recasting so many Sig Appraisers. I have so many cards to choose from right now. I'm probably supposed to be just playing Mammoths right now. At this point, they can't kill them all. Do one uncounterable bellow, but then they just counter the second one anyway. The first one's the more important one to resolve, though, because the first one lets me harmonize the second one. So if the second gets countered, that's fine. But if the first gets countered, I can't cast the second if they make me pay any more on it. Yeah, that is a-okay. Alright. They're absolutely monumental dragons because the freaking triple territorial strike here. If I get to the point of milling out, I can just cast Saga Wildling every single turn as Roost Seek and just find no land and not mill. So yeah, let's go digging. Try to just make a way bigger board than our opponent. Do I go digging that much? Completely lose my mind? No, I'm not gonna go that deep. That's gonna draw so bit like an insane amount of cards with all this Renew and Harmonize. It's a little too much for my tastes right now. I'm good here. It's good enough for me. Yeah, let's just make a wide board of little idiots to attack with. There we go. There's the big idiot. 5/5 flash flyers, so we get to play it during their end step after they tap their flyers too. All right. This is a sorcery. I kind of want to lash face here. No, they can get 2/2/2s on blocks, which is very relevant. So I'll hold that for that. Ooh, Azure Scale doesn't count as drawings. That's another piece of mill prevention. You can seek from an empty library and not lose the game, I believe. Because it's not technically drawing a card from an empty library. I'm happy they milled another removal spell. And they milled a graveyard recursion card too. Okay, they're gonna play the giant dragon or the things. They're gonna play the giant dragon. Okay, fair. Let's go racing. Hit for 8 here if I clear out the Wayfarer. I can still hit for 6 if I don't clear it out, which is still a lot. Then I get to make a Mammoth for the turn. I can't play Azure Scale and a Mammoth. I could play Illuminating Lash and a Mammoth. Oh, so I guess, yeah, I can clear out the Wayfarer and get a Mammoth here. And then draw a card off of playing the Mammoth. Oh no, it's 8 man. I'm insane. I don't know why I thought that was 5. Okay, so I do have to hit for just 6 here to make the Mammoth. Oh no. I have to hit for 4 to do it? Shoot. Yeah, I wish I should have looked at the actual harmonized cost. I was like sitting looking at the cost reduction, like not thinking this out right. I think the problem is I was thinking about the regular mana costs of that 5 and then reducing that regular mana cost. Kishla Skimmer? Okay, I don't want to draw more cards, Skimmer. I'm good. We still haven't drawn our fresh start, which is good because that card would be really, really good against these giant dragons. Oh, Jesus. Do they have another Auroral Procession? Auroral Procession, the destroy a creature +2/+2 to the next dragon card. Would be very nasty. Oh, it's even worse. It's Whale of War, so they can pick up the Kishla Trawlers to pick up the destroy a creature +2/+2. Jesus Christ. Okay. That one card was single-handedly like a 4-for-1 here. Pick up 2 creatures, both can be a 2-for-1. They generally pick up a 2-for-1 and a Death Toucher, though. But the 2-for-1 creature can pick up a 2-for-1 spell, yeah, like this, which is blow up a creature and get +2/+2. That was an incredible last card to have in hand there. That might actually get them the win here. Because, yeah, we're dead in 2 swings now. How do I not die? Kishla Skimmer doesn't do it because they can blow that up with the Stormbrood. So I need to have a blocker with more than 3 power to chump the dragon. 5 mana for this. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up. So I could play this and the Skimmer and the Azure Scale flashed in. And then they kill the Wildling or the Skimmer, and then I flash an Azure Scale in the end step. Plus, I guess just resolving Wildling makes me already not dead on board. The only problem with this plan is if they top deck exactly a counter spell. But I think the element of surprise of end step Azure Scale is still worth it, because that can get them to try to destroy one of these and push damage in, instead of playing a flying blocker. And then if they don't have a flying blocker and I flash this in, they're going to die. Okay, they played a flying blocker. Alright, and then the 2/2s. If I pick non-lands, I'm almost guaranteed to draw fresh start at this point. There's only 3 non-lands left in the deck. Okay, cool. So we can still we still get the win here. We just take this damage, and then I can even play it safe here, not take this damage, and then I can Azure Scale for the fresh start to make Stormbrood not flying. So choose non-land. And there it is. Now they have no flying blockers, and we hit lethal. Alright. Their deck was very, very good, but our deck is like super, super loaded here. I don't think I played it right at all. There were so many, there were just like infinite options throughout all those turns that could have gone so differently. Oh, that's crazy. It conjures a duplicate. So I actually had 2 River Regions in my grave now that I conjured one. That's very, very cool. But yeah, I mean, there were so many just incredible options of what to do at all points, and I still felt like I was very at risk of losing that game, even doing all that insane stuff. All the territorial strikes. I think they cast them 4 times for all these buffs on the big dragons. Wild game of Magic, but it is a victory in the end, just before milling ourselves out. We start things off 1-0, heading into game 2. Here we are for game number 2. No green source is really bad for this hand, but if we draw any card, we get to do the draw 3, discard 1. I'm gonna keep here. This is like a rock, paper, scissors kind of hand where it scoops to Boros, but it can beat other 4 or 5 color decks just by raw power level. So of course we're against Boros, but I did hit the green source immediately, which makes it playable against Boros still. Not great, but playable at least. Okay. Let's get our second blue guaranteed for this to stabilize us later. And this is tapped unless plains or island. I can play an island. This is tapped unless mountain or forest. I can't play a mountain or forest, so we play the Mistrise Village. It's the tap land on the turn that it doesn't matter. So then I need to play island and then monastery. Alright, the full Mardu here. There's the Nomad Outpost for the splash into black. And there's Mardu Monument. Oh boy. This card's pretty great. Gets 3 hasting, menacing warriors onto the board that then stick around later. So if they have any of the cards that buff their entire board, like the war effort, we're just dead. But we kind of would be even if we didn't have a slow hand. If they go like Mardu Monument into war effort, that's just like one of the wombo combos in the format. Hardened Tactician can draw a million cards here. Obviously just draw a card right now. It's a pretty solid draw here. I was just going to cast card draw spells this turn either way. So might as well play the best one. Lots of Harmonize in this hand to draw even more off of Oasis later. So Mountain Mammoth Bellow next turn. Thunder of Unity. Draw 2, lose 2, but now every creature they play for the next 2 turns drains me for a life. That includes tokens as well, so the Mardu Monument and the Shock Brigade Mobilize are going to get a lot of damage in here. Get kind of through our Mammoths. They got a full grip of 7 off this Hardened Tactician. Oh, the Windcrag Siege with Thunder of Unity. We're getting bombed out here. And the Dragon's Prey too for the cheap removal there. Oh, they actually go for the double mobilize triggers. Cool. They have the Kieran to go with their Saga too. This is a super uphill battle here, but we have played our strongest rare at least, so there's a small chance, but our opponent is in Synergy Magical Christmas Land. Thunder of Unity. Play the Shock Brigade. Yeah, life drain for 2 more turns. That life drain is going to be just unbeatable. Like if they just crack the monument, we're just like dead. Yeah, 2 more turns of life drain. There's just no racing here. I mean, Azure Scale was probably the best draw on the deck, but I think we're dead on the crackback, right? We're at like 12. 3 tokens off Mardu Monument, 2 tokens off Brigade is 5. So they drain us for 5, hit us with 2 1/1s, hit us for 3 more 1/1s. That's 10 damage there. Jesus. And they'll gain like 5 life here. So I can't even like try to attack both and get a 2-turn kill. I mean, it's possible to get a 2-turn kill if I attack both and somehow don't die on the crackback, but I think I die on the crackback. 5/5 blocks the 2/1. So I don't take that damage, but I take 1 from Brigade, 2 from its tokens. That's 1, 2, 3. 2 more pings from its tokens, because Thunder of Unity. So 4, 5. Mardu Monument is 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11. I go to 1 life, blocking with Azure Scale. So if they play a single other creature, I die. And they can crack Monument for only 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they have a 2-mana or less creature, I die if I attack with both creatures. So I have to attack with literally just 1. And they jump anyway. Still think it was better to attack with the flyer, because it could get in for enough damage to get a 2-turn kill, but Champion can't. Even if Champion gets in and hits them down to 11, then they go back up to like 16. I can't have 16 damage this next turn. This is so absurd. Fresh start's too late, I think. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to 2 life. I'm dead to any ping. I'm dead to them playing 2 creatures, but that's true. I stop 1 more damage, right? So I'm dead to them playing 3 creatures. If I block the 2 1/1s that are going to die anyway. And the Shock Brigade is locking in 2 pings every turn, plus 2 more 1/1 attackers. I think I have to just go for the Shock Brigade. If I die, I die. I'm dead to so many cards here either way. Most of the cards that would kill me here kill me through taking 3 more too. Alright, they play any 2 creatures, I'm dead. Another Shock Brigade! No, not like this. Come on, life gain dragon off the top. 1 time. No! I don't even have the mana to cast it if I find it off of Dragonologist. And that's the only life gain in the deck. Double check here. Anything else? Maybe something that can deal with the Thunder of Unity? No, there's literally no other way. I would have just had to have top decked the life gain dragon. I could draw it off of Unending Whisper, but that requires me tapping a blocker, in which case I'm super dead. Anyway, we know they have a creature in hand. They literally just cast Hardened Tactician and we die. If I don't find the life gain thing, then there's literally no point in even thinking about anything else. That's not the life gain. That's not the life gain. Okay. Well, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen a Mardu deck do in this set. Not that, like, I mean, I've died faster to Boros, definitely. But in terms of just, like, the synergy they had popping off of double up on Thunder of Unity with Windcrag Siege with the mobilized doublers, that was insane longevity to that Mardu deck there. They drew all of the Wombo combos, and we are 1-1 heading into game 3. Here we are for game 3. We got green, blue, and black here. So excellent mana, and excellent card drawn, and excellent finisher. And what's really, really nice about our finisher in this hand is if I get mana screwed here, I don't draw any lands. I can just cast Divining Dive for a land. There's a land. And any lands work great here because they get us to the Sibsig Appraisers. which get us the rest of the way up. Here's the 50th Boros deck of the week. Second Boros deck of the day. The set really is literally just Boros versus 5-color. Not exactly 5-color, but you know, like 4 or 5-color mush. We're the 4 or 5-color mush, they're the Boros. Oh. Oasis of Renewal is too good to pass up on. I'm going to use Cunning Azure Scale for the land here. So I can, at worst, go Azure Scale plus Fresh Start next turn. Fresh Start's pretty nice here in the early game. We need that cheap removal. First time I've ever seen Twin Bolt be good. No! That's a huge bummer. Could put a Death Touching Appraiser on top of my deck. That's cute. I think I'd rather just Auroral Procession it. I guess since I hit the land, I can just play one here. It's kind of the same as removal spell. It stops 3 damage if they don't removal it. Okay, I gotta keep Caustic Exhale. So I can go Fresh Start plus Exhale next turn. Exhale only costs 1, so I could use the Azure Scale too. I guess they can put the Forebear back in their hand if they've got nothing else to do with their mana, which kind of sucks, but... they've got something else to do with their mana, so it's fine. Say goodbye to your board, friend. Okay, if I Azure Scale into a tap land, that is devastating. So I think I have to just go Fresh Start Caustic Exhale. And I can do that plus an Unending Whisper. But if I use the Azure Scale and hit a tap land, then I can't do both Fresh Start plus Exhale. So, yeah, so Fresh Start. Caustic Exhale. While they're tapped out and can't get the other thing back. And Unending Whisper to draw a card. Okay, I should have whispered first. I was not thinking of Saga Wildling. That'd be the one draw where we could actually play it and then another thing still. But since I didn't turn it into a land, I get to gain life here, which is pretty good. Misplaying works in our favor. Woo! Why didn't they just do that during their turn and hit me? Alright. I'll take 4 less damage, I guess. That was weird. Fortress Kingard. Now I force removal on the Azure Scale here, and it has to be instant speed removal, because I can play it during their Declare Attacker step, so they can't use sorcery removal on it. Alright, well they've got it. The instant removal here. Ooh, that's good draws. Play around the Death Touch trick here. They do have black mana for that. Just gonna double block. Play around the like +2/+1 style tricks. Okay, indestructible. They still just kill one of these. Put a Death Touching Azure Scale on top of my deck, probably, right? Go to 3, trade with Forebear. Kill the Kinguard, because if I kill the Forebear and then trade with Kinguard, they pick up the other thing. Or would be a trade, it would be a good block, but they'd pick that up, which would make it bad. Yeah, I think I'm putting Death Touching Azure Scale on top here. Just hoping to survive through this turn and then stabilize off that. Depends on their top deck here. Really all comes down to that. Not a creature, not a creature. Oh god. It's a creature that puts me to 1 here. 1 is not 0, famously. I think I have to main phase this so that I can cast another spell. Because I can play the land I draw into if it's not a tap land. Okay. Oh, it's not a blue source. Oh, shoot. I should have just played Bloodfell Caves. I couldn't cast a spell there. No! No shot! That's your 2 draws in a row. Oh my god. Let's not play against Boros next game. Ay, ay, ay. We're just so monumentally winning with like 1 more turn. We just needed them to miss on like a single draw there to trade off into basically their whole board, because we trade there and then have all the removal and recursion to deal with the rest. Oh. Another game where there were a million different lines we could choose from, so I'm sure there was a winning line somewhere that we missed. Like maybe Procession the Fresh Start on the Stormbrood plays better there. Take a bunch of damage for doing that, but then maybe I can do that and still have like Technique for the other card is the best play. They had 3 creatures though, so that would deal with 2 of the 3 for 8 mana total. 5, 6, 7, 8. I only just now have 8 mana because of Azure Scale. So I couldn't do all of that, but Procession Fresh Start or something could have been a line. Maybe Wildling. Maybe we were supposed to make a Death Touching Wildling on top to get a little bit of life for the Breathing Room. But yeah, here, even if I played Bloodfell Caves and that's 4 damage off the top with that Bearer of Glory, I mean, just absurd draws. Underdogs for 2 creatures into the Anthem effect for the multiple creatures. Brutal. 1 and 2 heading into game number 4. All right, here we are for game number 4. We are 1 and 2 right now with a really, really strong deck. So I really want to rally here. We've had some really disappointing games against Mardu, which is the best deck against this deck, as it is the slower 4/5 color deck. It's kind of the rock, paper, scissors of the format. 4/5 color beats all of the mid-rangey stuff, but the mid-rangey stuff beats the Boros, and the Boros beats the 4/5 color, so... I kind of want to get rid of Roamer's Routine because it's got the flashback. I guess I just do that with Unending Whisper and still have the flashback there. Yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, that's probably what I want to play on turn 3 though, so I probably shouldn't. Okay, well now that I have Temur Monument to get the red source, I could just play the Champion here, and then I still have Monument into Lash next turn. The big concern with playing Routine right now was for the Lash. I really don't mind a Champion getting exiled. Here's the path for all our bombs later. So now we have another mirror match here. We don't have to worry about Boros nonsense, so It's very early to say, but I feel decent so far this game. Okay, double Sipsig Appraiser right off the bat is very good. Come on out, Sipsig Appraisers. We have to fight fire with fire. Nope. Well, now we can cast anything in the deck. Get a Mammoth soon. They're ramping here with Pearl Lake Warden. Why did you leave black untapped? I don't have a dragon to behold for Exhale. You're supposed to leave green to... Never let auto tapper do anything. I was gonna Roamer's routine that turn. The tilt is growing this draft. That is pretty gnarly. Yeah, I think I need to counter that. I mean, it's a draw 5. Kind of just wins the game if it resolves. Do I care that much about holding up Auroral Procession? Not really, but I don't want to just like put a champion counter on this and have it just immediately get bounced anyway. Yeah, I'm just gonna hold. See, this is why you don't put the counter on the token. Ice Surge Serpent, very good here. Loam Frill has an incredible ability in my grave, so I'm happy to put it there. Ooh. Do have to draw into something here. I want to save Loam Frill for a better creature. Pick up a land or just draw one. I think I would rather draw one. I guess they're the same thing. Just Sky Brushmaster, hello? Pummeler's okay. I can Procession our Riverwalk technique and counter the removal spell now. Or Procession the Caustic Exhale here to get a kill on Brushmaster if they try to do some kind of prowess trick. One card left in their hand. No spells, they just pass. Come on, man. If I tap out for Roamer's Routine, I don't have the mana to Procession my counter non-creature. I think it's pretty important to hold on to the counter non-creature possibility here. So we wait till this land is untapped to use Roamer's Routine. If they have another like New Way Forward style card, it's over. Whenever you cast a dragon or non-creature spell, draft the dragon onto the battlefield. See, that's why you hold the mana up. Okay. They do get a Brushmaster swing in this turn, which is pretty rough. Oh, focus the mind too. It's all gas. The double spell turn. That is really painful. And they top decked another spell too. Well, I guess the focus mind was draw. Draw 3, discard 1, so that was quite likely. Off that at least. But man, we are getting outdrawn. Come on, give me one dragon and then we flip that in our favor immediately. I'll lose my mind. There's only 3 lands left. I guess I just needed a lone fill at this point for just a guaranteed 5/3 top deck. It's not even good. I feel like putting a 5/3 on top of my deck is just giving up, because at this point the only way out is like drawing a really, really good spell, because we've just hit like 4 lands in a row. And a 5/3 is not a really good spell that gets us out of this. Get prowess here. Oh, no, just a trade? Okay. I swear, Arena. That's something. What do we find? What do we find? What do we find? Okay. Cash money. Why can't I click on that forest? Please. I want to play with this deck more. That's what I'm talking about. That is absolutely what I'm talking about. That is the wrong way to tap. What are you doing, Arena? And I can't click on this forest. There we go. Jesus. And then we draw another card off of Oasis of Renewal here. Oh, wait, we don't? Oh, you can't trigger it the turn that it enters, because the entering or doing another thing counts. Oh, great. Draw a card for free off of the Alchemy rare being on top. Plus River Wheel Sweep. They only hit 1 land in the top 3 there. And then another spell off the sweep. God. I'm so desperate. For just an ounce of breathing room. There were no lands in their top 3. They were just holding on to a Sage of the Skies for later. This is genuinely absurd. I think our first 2 losses were winnable. This is ridiculous. I mean, they've all been kind of ridiculous, but certainly partially self-imposed the first couple times. I'm just dead. Give me the fresh start. Nope. That wasn't like great odds. That was like a 1 in 4, I think. At this point, there's like 4 non-lands left, including 1 copy of Fresh Start. Alright, I think I'm literally just dead this turn. I need a break from this set. This is so dumb. 1 in 3 it is, baby! This deck is way better than a 1 in 3 on average, but those games were absurd. Just absolutely flooded out in that last game. Second game, we were milliseconds from stabilizing, but our opponent just went top deck banger into top deck banger. I mean, both of our last 2 losses, our opponents hit just straight gas in the end game. They literally drew like Sage of the Sky's removal spell Flyer or something insane like that as their 3 draws there. Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do when the draws go like that, but I do think that the first 2 losses, the second loss less so. The first loss for sure, I think we could have probably changed with different plays. The second loss probably as well, but there was still a huge element of variance with how incredible our opponent drew late game. And the last game, that was the most absurd bout of variance that we had, where we drew miserably with a huge land clump, and our opponent just drew like 0 lands the last 4 turns of that game off their top decks. Yep, I don't know. Deck was cool, deck was fun. Certainly could have built a better deck here with a little bit more removal and consistency instead of trying to do the Oasis of Renewal fun stuff. But I was specifically trying to do the fun stuff, trying to play with some of these Alchemy cards, and I think it still ended up with a pretty powerful deck that was absolutely capable of even potentially a 7-win run. The games just did not pan out for us in the slightest. We hit a bad swing of variance here, but that is magic, baby. That is going to be 1 in 3 to end today's draft. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in the recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.